Okay. All right, monkey dog. Oh, we're folding. This stupid thing needs to stay. All right, home slices. It's Yusuf a problem. We are here on Monday, June, I don't know, the 26th or something. June 26th. All right. So, Bed Bath & Beyond apparently pulled the going out of business signs off a whole bunch of their stores. The stock price went up, what, 50% today? From 20-something cents to 30-something cents. I have no idea what it's doing after hours. What is it doing after hours? 32. So it peaked at 32-something and still at 32 cents right now. I think this is just FOMO rumblings of people trying to get in before better news drops. But I guess Bed Bath & Beyond filed, I forget the term of this. It's a document basically saying, hey, we restructured. We have restructured. So we're going to go back to doing business. But there's still the auction for Bye Bye Baby on Thursday. So keep ready for that. Aaron Salentine was in here talking about finger motion and saying that they've got just a huge short interest. And I guess the short interest is like 140 million shares at $5 and something. And it went up to four something today. I think FOMO is driving the price up. And if it shoots past that I forget what it is, 536 or something, then all of a sudden the person with that giant short position is underwater. And this is a stock that's like had a lot of volatility and hit $7, went down, hit $5, went down. So it could very well explode. I just picked up some options and I bought some at for August at $7, and I'm keen to see where it goes. What's happening today? The Russian Civil War is apparently over. Prigozhin was on his way, made it to Moscow Oblast, which is like the state of Moscow, down up to the city itself. And then got a sweetheart deal from Putin saying, "Hey man, don't invade us. We'll give you Belarusia." And he was like, "Okay." And so he went to Belarus. Lukashenko appears to have fled, or maybe just his family fled to Turkey. So I'll be curious to see if like Belarus becomes Prigozhin's satellite puppet state. Or what? Lots of people saying, like, "Oh, it's a classic feint to get a whole bunch of soldiers into Belarus." Well, a lot of his soldiers are really mad at him. So if you look at the Russian Telegram channels, there's a whole bunch of soldiers like, "We were promised to take over Russia, and we didn't. You just sold us out. Like, fuck you, man." And there's lots of Russian soldiers who are really pissed because they've shot down the Air Command's plane. They shot down a bunch of helicopters. They killed a lot of Russian soldiers on this march to Moscow to go overthrow Putin, and then took us 30 pieces of silver, and that's that. It is very strange. This is the equivalent of like the White House chef overtaking, I don't know, San Antonio, Houston, and Dallas, and then making his way all the way to Virginia before President Biden was like, "All right, man, we're going to give you Canada." And he goes, "Okay," and goes and takes Canada. It's just the weirdest dynamic. And it shows that when push comes to shove, Putin's like, "Don't hurt me." So it's a very weird, very, very weird situation. On that note, shapoing. Turn off. Everything's off. No mistakes today. So, you want to see the kitty cat? At least, I don't think today. He's outside getting his nipples all tan. He's just like a little blob out in the sunshine right now. So, he's out there unless somebody happens to come by and let him in. So, no kitty cat for a while. Monkey is sprawled out behind me. And she's been in the sunshine for like the last hour while I've been doing laundry and stuff. And yeah, so there's your status update. Lost Waves, saw a video of you twerking on the streets in your tidy whities. I bet you watched it more than once, didn't you? Casey Chapman first, finally lol. Nope, you were second, Casey. Piano student Semper, Houston, attended Pride over the weekend with his dirty coonies. Yeah. I was part of the Skid Streak Brigade. We won recognition. We're very proud of our streaks. Fabrizio Plop. Jason Blackwell, Houston. I went to the Amazon for vacation and I forgot to exchange my money. Luckily, there were banks all along the river. I didn't have gray hairs until about 3 months ago when we started doing these. Casey Chapman, any price target for Finger or just looking for 140 to 150 million shares volume? Yeah. I don't think we'll see the volume spikes truly happen until the price gets maybe above that 5 in change. What's 536 or something? And then you'll see a whole bunch of buying. The average volume on that stock is like, I don't know, 1 million a day or something? 600,000 a day? Let's see here. Can I more about Finger Emotion? Let's go Chrome. Bam. Yeah, so up 20% today, $4.15. Average volume 434,000. So what was the volume today? Volume. Give me the total volume. What is wrong with you? Why is there no today's volume? Market cap, blah, 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 NASDAQ. Why are you so useless? We got average volume, but not today's volume. My guess it was over 1 million today, right? So, 700, 1,000, maybe not. Not very high volume then. Yeah, each candle is like 1,000 here, 900 there. So when this 434,000 gets dwarfed by whatever the daily volume is, and it's not showing me on Google Finance, which is the first thing that popped up, which is just silly. Then yeah, I think it's on like Donkey Kong. So no intro. All right. How much goes first? How much goes finally? Oh, you guys keep thinking you're first, and you're sadly mistaken. First name, last name, Houston. Looking forward to more garage outside the house videos. Thoughts on JP Morgan Chase accidentally deleting emails. They committed a crime. Also, rest in peace, Triton crew that became deep sea marinara. I think that's called Putinesca. Sears, MMTLP, where money? Our money is in someone else's pockets. We just need, the oomph to put it in our pockets. So that's where we are. But no, JP Morgan Chase straight up committed a crime, and they knew they were committing a crime. They didn't accidentally do anything. They purposely deleted 47 million documents that the feds were subpoenaing from them. That's what happened. You don't accidentally. You've got backups of backups of backups of backups. What the federal government should do is say, hey, you guys actually deleted that. We're going to bring in our forensic computer scientist, and he's going to bring back those documents for you. And what he'll do is find the exact chain of command, who deleted what, under what emails, blah, 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 and then they'll have people to charge. That's what they should do. Will they do it? Probably not. They'll probably like, oh, mistakes happen. Okay. And they'll go on from there because that is the nature of our, moderately corrupt society. Owen Saunders, hey pal. If BBBY gets bought, will our shares instantly go to like $5 a share? Then if we hold, the price could go higher. If so, what price looking at could really do with cash injection? Well, I think the goal is BBBY will remain a public company. They sold off intellectual property, which means like store brands and things, trademarks they have. They sold those off to Overstock. So Overstock will now own those store brands. This is stuff that like Sears did when they sold off Craftsman and Kenmore, etc. And then they're gonna spin off Bed Bath & Beyond or Bed by Baby on Thursday through auction to somebody else, and then Bed Bath & Beyond shares are going to remain Bed Bath & Beyond shares in the company. That's what I think is going to happen. So our shares will then all of a sudden be in a company that's out of bankruptcy, has a cash infusion, and no debt. And I think the goal there is then our share prices go pew around that. Originally, I thought somebody was just going to straight up buy Bed Bath & Beyond, and if they had, then any price that covered the outstanding debt would have been cash for us. But it looks like they're going to try to maintain as a company while spinning off Bye Bye Baby. We're saying last night in Houston, get a cheap small window unit for your upstairs streaming room. Could be less than $200 easily. Yes, but I have the wrong kind of window. My window opens like this and not like that. So there's nowhere for me to put a unit. I need MOASS. I'm going to swap out the oil furnace for a forced air heater, and then everything is going to be all copacetic. I'll just have delicious cool air raining out of that vent right there. And it'll just be so delicious. Scott Lumley. Hey, Houston. Happy birthday. Found a broker that's selling BBYQ call options at $3 for a penny. Should I jump on that? I am trying to find brokers that will do that. I was told that Tiger Trade will allow me to do it. In America, it's called Trade Up is their app. So I opened an account. I'm waiting for money to clear because they have to have at least 2,000 minimum in order to buy options through them. And apparently I can buy options through them. Scott, I would love to know what broker you're using that will allow you to do it because I would love some. Yeah, I mean, look at it this way. If you can get, say, and 50-cent options for August 18th are still going for $1. You still find August 18th options. Maybe today, because it went to 30 cents, maybe it's 2 cents, so $2. If you can get 3,000 of those things, right? So you're jumping, let's say $3,000 because you're getting them for $1. You get 3,000 options. And the stock price just happens to pop to $3. You just made $1 million or close to it, right? So $10, that's around $3 million. So a total gamble, total lotto ticket, but it'd be a fun win, right? So I'm gonna see if Tiger Trade will let me do that, or Trade Up as they're called in America. But apparently some Australians have been buying Bed Bath & Beyond calls through Tiger Trade this whole time. But what Scott, tell me what broker you're using. I would love to know. I think everybody else would too. Batbone's volume was 2.49 million on finger today. Okay, so volume is 5.5 times what it normally is. Word, thank you. Different line, Houston. Been unemployed for the last month or so, but not in a bad way. Need that MOASS to come soon. Getting a little too used to this free time. Isn't it like COVID was over and I was like, oh shit, I have to get a job, do that whole thing again. Or just having a really nice vacation. When I went to Switzerland last year, it took me 8 days of my vacation and I could totally just forgot about the rest of my life. I just, okay, this is what I do now. I live the jet setter life. Yeah, I agree with a different line. Fun employment is, it's great for a while. And then you're going to need this. And that's I got to go back to the rat race. Man. So let's MOASS and not rat race. We're going to have to worry about, payroll for our butler, maid, gardener, pool boy, what's the term? Bagman. How does that person follows around? Phone rings, be like, give me the phone, because I don't have to carry it. You're gross. They're going to carry the phone for me. You deal with my social media. I'm going to go sit by the pool. ZW. Houston, please talk about GME squeeze and the rolling defaults. Also, in your opinion, what might be an indicator of MOASS being imminent? After hours, crazy numbers, something else? Love your show. there are lots and lots and lots and lots of swaps that are rolling. Meaning they took a swap. There's a due date, has to go back, whatever, make good on it, and they just trade it with somebody else, just like they've been doing with everything else. There's so many different kinds of swaps in this derivatives market that you can basically hide anything you want offshore somewhere for a limited period of time and then trade again. Randall and Bigham's research into what the ISDA did in phase 6 is that it's getting harder for the medium and small size hedge funds to continue doing these swaps without posting massive collateral. And posting massive collateral causes a complete dry up of further liquidity in the market. And there were grace periods and grandfathered swaps that are expiring this month. And some of those hedge funds may not be able to find somebody to take on, at least temporarily, that bad debt without posting what they would consider an exorbitant amount of collateral. Remember, as of this time last year, anytime the stock was above $16, the shorts were underwater on GameStop. And they have so many hundreds of millions or billions of shares that they've sold that either don't exist or they borrowed that they owe back eventually, that all they've done is they just over leverage their own debt. And they'll play fast and loose with their accounting. They'll do things like they'll take their collateral and they'll put it in the repo market. So they'll do like let's say a 1 day or 1 month repo for a quick loan to do a play. So they'll take, let's say, $1 billion in collateral, post it to the repo market, get $1 billion from a bank, do their play, make their money, and get the money back to the bank, get their collateral back. What the hedge funds do is when it comes time to account, and if that money's still in repo, they will list it as collateral that they have, and they will list it as the sale of securities when they haven't sold anything. All they've done is post it as collateral for a quick loan from the bank. And this will make their books inflated. Like, oh my God, they have all this cash. They sold all this stuff and they still have all this collateral? No, they don't. And so they'll manipulate their books in order to get higher margin from banks, and they'll over leverage themselves even more. So there's a lot of essentially what boils down to a loan fraud happening with these hedge funds. And the banks are too scared to call anybody out on it because they know if they call someone out on it, they have to liquidate them. And if they liquidate them, then the liabilities become the bank's liabilities. And that's the entire problem that Credit Suisse had. And then when UBS bought them for, what, $3 billion or something, the deal cost UBS like $20 billion because they didn't realize how deep that those liabilities were on Credit Suisse's books. And the Swiss government's like, we're not bailing you out. So, you know, it's just, it's going to be bad for them when it finally pops, when finally they have to realize, like, oh my God, we have to close all this stuff. There's no way. Everything is collapsing around us. The federal government is saying close. And there's seasoned banks left and right, and hedge funds are going under, and you're seeing like Lamborghinis go up on the Marshall's auction website, and people being charged with all sorts of financial crimes, fraud, because these hedge fund managers are essentially stealing money from their rich clients, which you don't want to do. It's gonna be wild, man. But how will we know MOASS is imminent? I think it depends on what the triggers are. Like, the trigger could be complete collapse in real estate investment funds, right? REITs. It could be civil war in Russia picks up again, and that causes oil prices to spike, which causes a cease of investment, which brings everything down. It could be a complete unknown super shorted stock all of a sudden exploding. It could be one of the ones we know about exploding. It could be one of the shorted stocks that's a Fortune 1000 company that does a crypto dividend like Overstock, and this time has tens of millions of people going while they do it. There could be lots of things that trigger it. Temporarily, we're beyond the U.S. government defaulting on our debt, which would have been a massive trigger. So there's lots of things we got to look at, and we have to just keep on our toes and see what's happening. Read the news. My best guess, if I were a bet man on that, I would say real estate will be the trigger. Google showed that the search results for "Can I sell a house in foreclosure?" How do I sell my home in this market? Also, these searches, which were huge searches that were happening in 2008, are suddenly happening again. People are starting to be underwater on their mortgages. Bills are coming due. Their discretionary income is vanishing, and if like, okay, I'm spending $4,000 a month on this mortgage. I can rent a house for $2,000. So if I sell, I can save myself $2,000 a month. Maybe pocket a little bit of cash. Maybe not. Maybe it'll be a wash because of fees to the broker, escrow, etc. But like, okay, I save at least $2,000 a month. So maybe people are looking right now at doing that. But at the same time, these large investment firms are also suffering from that. They're underwater on their investments. They take out margin on their investments to buy these homes, and companies like BlackRock lost $1.7 trillion last year. Right? They lost $1.7 trillion. That's like a third of what the federal government's budget is. They lost on their investments last year. So if they're taking out margin with giant banks, so the JP Morgans or whatever, to buy 1 million homes across the United States, now those homes are worth less and their collateral's worth less, these real estate investment funds might run into some big trouble. And again, remember, of all commercial real estate across the United States, 1 in 5 are empty, and 1 in 5 have not received any lease money in a year. So that's 40% of all commercial real estate across the United States is not generating any income. So that's just not good. You do not want to have 40% vacancy and or have renters in there not paying you any money. It's not going to help you in the least. Leo B. Houston. Did UVXY reverse split? It did. I had $120 call options I held for 6 months, expire worthless this week before the last week. It rocketed Friday and would have net 50K. Yeah, it reverse split. Both UVXY and VIXY reverse split. I think last Thursday. So yeah, that's what happened. In the case it was a reverse split, what would have happened to my options if they're still alive? The price would have gone up by the reverse split, which I think was 10x or something, and you would have had 10 fewer shares. So it would have been for 10 shares at 10 times the money is usually what happens on that. Kevin Rayonen, happy birthday, Houston. Got some coordinates for you from last weekend war rig trips. Oh, excellent. Those pictures look fantastic. Okay. And the coordinates are posting. So maybe YouTube fixed their crappy system. Okay, Google Earth. Google Earth. Oops, wrong screen. Oh, we're still in Egypt. Boom, boom, boom. Shabam, shabam, shabam. Where are we going? 39106. That looks like Oregon? Northern California? There's a good lake. Ooh, look at those rocks. Okay. Where are we? Lassen? I can't quite tell. We are... Oh, Colorado. No, way further east. Okay. What peak is this? West Partner Peak. Dang. 12,000 feet. And that lake is at 11,000. That's a really high alpine lake. That's extremely high alpine lake. Cool. What rocks we got here? Looks like a bit shaly, a bit schisty. See the scour marks from the glaciers as they came through on these rocks. Not seeing anything that explicitly says mineralization, but usually when you get peaks like this, there is mineralization galore. Oh, here we go. Here's some mineralization for you. See different colorizations here? So this is a rock that used to be like this, got tilted upwards. So these contact points between these two rocks, so you got dark side here, dark side here. This is probably quartz rich, and I would check this rock for any mineralization might be inside there. Maybe this side too. There's lots of fractures, so you might find lots of quartz veins, little quartz veins in that stuff. Some greenstone there, that'd be indicative of possibly copper. Yeah, there's lots of cool little lakes, all at 11,000 plus feet. Nice. And the other one? Copy. Bam, bam, bam. Boom, boom, boom. Could not understand. Oh, because I didn't put the west in there. Boom. Okay. Ooh, we did a lot of driving. Okay, got ourselves a stream. Got ourselves, what are you? Are you a campground? Colorado Crystal mill. Oh, it's a mill. Right on. Ooh. Okay, that's the stuff. That's the stuff. That is super quartz rich. This is where you'll mine for things. Look at these layers here. These are might be salts coming out of there, that white stuff. But Sheep Mountain. It's also at 11,500. This valley's at 8,900. Lead King Basin. So you see things like Lead King, that means that they definitely found lead there. But this is almost basin range type setup. So this is a tilted block. You can see you have the layers on the south side here, and then what happened was the block kind of tilted back, and so you have the cliff line and all those layers. So this would be the side, likely side you'd find minerals leaking out into the stream. So you'd pan this stream here. And White Horse Mountain, so you got a little ski lodge, ski hat, Beaver Lake, marble. Yeah. Daily hour, these ones, these 13s. 12, 12, 12, 12, 12, 12, 12. My friend Chad, last week before, just finished climbing every 14,000 foot mountain in Colorado. He'd been doing it with his wife for, I don't know, 5 years now. And they topped every single solitary 14er. 13, 13. There's, oh, Snowmass. Okay, cool. Cool. Oh, I get the war rig working so I can do adventures, because yard work is not filling that that need inside of me. I need to go poke some rocks. I need to go poke lots of rocks. JR, BBBY, yeah, bleh. BBBYQ price prediction, top and bottom thoughts. If it becomes a squeeze situation, the sky's the limit. I mean, there are a lot more shares in existence now than there were a year ago. There's like almost 10 times as many shares as there were a year ago. But I would not be surprised if when they say, "Hey, we sold bye baby. We got $1 billion in cash. We have no debt. Let's rock and roll, man." If that happens, I would not be surprised to see the stock go above 10, 15 bucks. That would totally make me happy, and also wouldn't be surprised to see it go higher. So I'm hoping for, if I can get those options, oh, it'll be delicious. Oh, nom 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 nom. But I think there's a lot of people that were on the short thesis side. They're going to find themselves holding a lot of liabilities in a company that suddenly has money and set up to make a profit. So, I mean, Bed Bath & Beyond would have been making a profit if they didn't have debt. And the only reason they had debt is because they did a whole bunch of stock buybacks. Had they never done the stock buybacks, they would have still been making a profit. So, their stock buybacks to boost their stock price is what did them in ultimately, and they had to go into bankruptcy as a result. So, yeah, they're gonna lose probably $2 to $3 billion a year in sales. They'll be a much leaner operation, but they'll be in position to start growing again after this. So yeah, the short thesis guys I think are going to be totally screwed. Randrudal, oh man, I'm just going to bed now. I'll have to catch up in 6 hours. Oh man, well I guess you must be in Europe. B-Ball 3710. The Bidens did not have a good week. Do you them Dems trot him out their next election? Drip 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 of corruption. If not him, who? I mean, for 5% of our military budget, we got Russia to almost eat itself, and might still be eating itself, and lose a whole bunch of soldiers that were on the front line inside of Ukraine. So it looks like they're probably going to be losing Ukraine. The offensive the Ukrainians are doing is making huge strides. The Russian soldiers are completely demoralized. They have no... The two men who are leading the war, the director of the war and the minister of defense, are both under house arrest. So nobody's really issuing orders right now for Russian soldiers. So I think it's not as bad a week as I think it is. I mean, yeah, Hunter Biden's kind of a fuck up. RFK's not going anywhere. I mean, we have a man thinking he's seriously running for president who's an anti-vaxxer, for one, who doesn't understand anything about science or any of that stuff. Two, he's been married a boatload of times, and his marriages have been, let's say, quite terrible. One of his wives committed suicide because she read what he wrote in his journal about how he had cheated on her 37 times, gave her Hep C because he was a rampant heroin user, and then she killed herself. Like, not really quite what you want in a president. It's kind of a piece of shit. So I think unless Biden like has a stroke and drops dead or something, he's going to be the nominee on the Democrat side in 2024. Now, would I prefer somebody else? Yes. I would prefer to be like, look, I'm old as shit. I made it. I'm president. I'm going to step back, let somebody else in the Democratic Party take over, and I'm just going to kick ass until the end of my term. That's what I would prefer. But you know, that's not how politicians do it. They're like, well, I'm going to hold on to office until I'm 10,000 years old and nothing but dust, which is what you're seeing out of Dianne Feinstein, who's 90 and has full-blown Alzheimer's, has no idea where she is. People having conversations with her, and she thinks she's mayor of San Francisco, which she was like 35 years ago. So, yeah, it's time. I would prefer not to have old people, like ancient, dusty old people running things. Well, oh, there's a reset of the chat. Okay. Boom, boom. Dog Mom's here. Hello, Dog Mom. Any thoughts on anything squeezing soon? Well, it looks like Finger's got a chance, and it looks like BBYQ's got a chance. GTII is in a weird settlement phase of their lawsuit where, oh crap, I always forget that stupid company's name. Alpine. Alpine's making an offer to like settle the giant lawsuit that they're about to lose, and I think GTII is going to go, no, we want you to be obliterated and forced to close out all these positions. So they might pop as well. I'm hoping that one of these others pop, and then I can maybe get some significant GTII holdings for when that goes as well. I do not have the collateral or liquidity of a BlackRock or giant index investment institution, so I can't get my little fingers in every single pie. I got to do like a couple here and a couple there. Well, you know, we're working on it. Jimmy D, love you, Houston. Was Prigozhin sent to Moscow by oligarchs to keep Putin in line? But they're not happy having to hide all their money around the world. I honestly don't know. I think Prigozhin, the dude's a complete psycho. So it's hard to find good cause for anything. But he and Shoigu really hate each other's guts. And I do think Shoigu tried to kill him. But I also think Prigozhin already had this thing lined up and planned weeks ago. The U.S., the CIA said, like, oh yeah, we knew that he was going to try to do a coup like 2 weeks ago. So it appears to me that he was totally going to do it and then just sold out at the last second for Belarus. Before the last election, Lukashenko imprisoned and possibly had killed a whole bunch of Wagner mercenaries. So Wagner mercenaries are not well loved in Belarus. Putin apparently tried to kill Lukashenko, poisoned him not too long ago. So I don't know what. This is a very weird dynamics. It seems like a very abusive relationship all these Russian men are in with each other. It's like Game of Thrones. Like, you tried to kill me, but you know what? We're going to be allies right now because we're going to try and kill that guy. Oh, wait. He's going to be our ally? We're going to try to kill you again? It's very silly. I've read this hilarious... Oh my gosh, where is it? It's one of the few green text things ever that was actually like, oh, that's funny. Might take me a moment to find it. Un momento, por favor. Gotta go to me. Got to go to tweets. Go to ding 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 ding. There we go. Okay. Day 487 of the 3-day special operation to denazify Mexico. Mexico has launched a counteroffensive against U.S.-held Tijuana and is suffering 500 to 1,000 casualties a day. Joe Biden and Mark Miley try to dissolve the McDonald's private military contractor, which is becoming oversized and bloated with penal troops from prisons across the U.S. Threaten the McDonald's CEO with treason and death if he does not comply. McDonald's CEO takes his entire PMC and takes over Austin, Texas, Atlanta, Georgia without resistance on the way to Mark Miley's office. Joe Biden appears on TV visibly shaken. Come on, man. Don't fight, man. That's wrong. 7 Apache helicopters are shot down in the chaos and a command aircraft is lost. Justin Trudeau mediates a deal with McDonald's PMC to let him leave to Canada in exchange for not killing Mark Miley. McDonald's takes the deal. Pollsters from India, Pakistan applaud Joe Biden, tactical wit and cunning in handling the situation. Another flawless win for the United States. But in this metaphor, the McDonald's CEO is also the former personal chef of Joe Biden. Just bonkers. Like, the dude's a hot dog vendor. He was a hot dog vendor who somehow became the personal chef for Putin and then got all these contracts to feed the Russian military and then create his own Russian private military contractor company. Without ever having any military experience. His experience was he spent a good part of his developmental years in prison for rape and mugging old ladies before his parents were finally able to bribe the new Russian government, the Yeltsin Russian government, to let their son out of prison. So Prigozhin is a creepy dude all the way. He's terrible, but man, hot dogs. Yeah, if you're the Oscar Wagner Wienermobile. Fear me. Okay, where was I? There's Dog Mom. William Morganson, Finger had a decent day. Finger had a very decent day. Beats by the wood. Houston, remember, I hope the family and doggy are doing good. Monkey, are you doing good? She's a blob on the floor. Seems like she's doing fantastic. Josh Propel, Tennessee. So, HPD, Houston. Happy day. Houston, you understand this correctly. Your dream for MOASS is just change your air conditioner until the place you currently live in. Love it, man. Yeah. I would love to swap out the air system in this house. Two things I'd really love to do. Maybe 3 things I'd really love to do. Three things I'd really love to do. I would love to swap out the oil furnace for a forced air furnace. That'd be fantastic. I would love to get the driveway, which comes up a little hill, arcs over, and then drops about 6 inches to a foot, and then floods my garage. It drives me up the wall. I would love to rip that driveway out, level that sucker out. And 3, I would love to tear down the current garage and make a much larger one so I can have a side to work on cars, a side that I could do my woodworking stuff and metallurgy, and then have storage for all my camping and mining gears. And then maybe, a loft where we can put in a pool table or a dartboard or something. I guess those are my 3 dreams with MOASS money. Is like work on ship boxes and have a level driveway that doesn't flood the garage. And cool air in the summer, warm air in the winter doesn't cost me $3,000 in heating oil to do. Ba-ba-ba-ba-bum. Comfy Soda. Hey, Houston, thoughts on Doug Sifu duking it out with Bigum's Desperate Man? Say, Desperate Man who's going to lose that one. Doug Sifu is one of those short hedge fund dudes that can't keep his foot out of his mouth. And whenever he gets involved, something desperate's happening. So, go Bigum's, go. Julio's here. Good day, Julio. Citizen 54, AMC squeeze is dead. I can't trust AA, to be honest. Competent. For that reason, I am out. Godspeed to the rest. Yeah. It doesn't seem like... It seems like AMC and Ape are slowly going to meet each other before there's ever a reverse split approved. And, I mean, if you bought AMC now or before... if you bought Ape now or before... You'll probably still come out on top of that trade, but right now, I think they did not utilize this rabid following they had to their advantage to fix the company, but they did use it to line their own pockets. That's what I feel. That's the feeling I have from it. Lid 5, it's not fun. What's a cycle, Houston? Let's hope it's a cycle. Let's do it. Andrew Stewart, Houston, what are your best and worst things about living on Bainbridge? Best and worst things. Best things, I've got access to water and mountains like that. I can be in Seattle in 30 minutes and then have the safety and community of the island. Worst things is the traffic on the highway from the ferries and the rest of the county trying to get to the ferries. It can be a nightmare. In for the sleepy little island, there is an insane number of cars that come on and off this island every day trying to get to the ferry. That would be a giant drawback. What's another drawback, Monkey? People. There's a lot of newer people that live here. So there's a lot of old islanders have been here their entire lives. And there's a lot of nouveau riche that come and think this is much more like country club type lifestyle, and people just don't give a shit. What you'll have a guy who's worth $100 million and he's driving a 20-year-old Volvo. That's a large portion of the island's population. That they just don't care about pretentious things. We have a lot of nouveau riche people that will they took out a loan for their $3 million house. They're paying their country club fees. They're sending their kids to private school for no reason because our public school here is among the best in the entire country. We have an electron microscope at my high school, and people are like, "I'm going to send my kid to private school." Why? PhDs teaching science classes here. And these people, they might make $400,000 or $500,000 a year, and they have less money to rub together at the end of the month than I do, because they have so many costs, from school tuition to country club to home mortgage to their cars that are costing them $2,000 a month. It's really silly. And every time we have a hiccup in the economy, whether it was the .com bubble or the global financial crisis 2008, these nouveau riche people just blink out of existence, and all their homes come up for sale, and then 5 years later, there's a whole nother group of them. So we have I think those folks are the worst part about the island. Yeah, just they want designer clothes, and everyone else is wearing Patagonia and driving around a Subaru. Owen Saunders, how does the baby spinoff work? Do we keep our BBY shares, then give additional baby shares? I don't think we get additional baby shares. I mean, I could be wrong on this, but it's total speculation on my part. The way I see it is on Thursday, the auction happens for Bye Bye Baby. And my guess is that Cohen and ICANN take it, and they do it in two ways. One, they voluntarily wipe out all the debt Bed Bath & Beyond has, and two, offer cash on top of that, so that Bed Bath & Beyond has operating income going forward. And Bed Bath & Beyond and the creditors, who are Cohen and ICANN, all agree on this, and it's sold. And so Bed Bath Baby's gone. It's no longer part of the Bed Bath & Beyond stock. But Bed Bath & Beyond stock still exists, and we still hold a company that exists. That'd be my guess as how it goes. We'll see if the crystal ball is working on this one. We'll know more possibly Thursday evening. Bex, hey, Houston, happy birthday. Anything you can talk about with completely hypothetical company called Acme, parent company? It would be nice to see anything really. All I will say is you need salespeople. A company's got to make things and it's got to sell things. And so if you're making things and you're not selling things, then you're not making money. And the goal is to make money. So if you're making things, find people to sell those things. That would be all I'd say. Mick Batista. All right. Houston, love you and your show. Question. Best guess, if Baby goes back to restructuring, what do you predict stock price would be guesstimate? Oh, someone asked that already. You know, I would not doubt if we get a squeeze that puts it above $10, at least momentarily, before it settles back out again. It'll take a couple of quarterly reports to truly get like the value of the stock, because so many shares are in existence. I think it's going to be quite difficult to establish, like, okay, what are you doing a year in sales? How many stores are left? What are your expenses? Are there potential to expand in the future? Things like that. So I would say temporarily if Bed Bath comes out of this with no debt and some cash, then the stock price is going to go woohoo, at least momentarily. So that's where I want to get those calls, because if it goes woohoo, then I am woohoo. Right, Monkey? You're woohooing. We're gonna 4-wheel drive RV it everywhere. We're gonna do all of our shows from the confines of our sexy RV, Monkey. System 54, people are free to invest in anything they'd like, but actions speak for themselves. RC has been more investor friendly so far. I don't have blind faith in a CEO, but RC is making the better moves. I agree. He's probably making the best moves out of these companies. Andrew Stewart, Houston, did you see Dave Lauer's tweet about MMTLP? No. Better markets. When was it? I'm going back several hours here. Okay, that's that. I don't see that. Don't see that. Talking about air quality. I don't see it on his. Maybe if I do a search. Yeah. Oh, no. Dave Lauer. I don't see anything. I'm not finding anything. Maybe send it to me and I can see it, but I'm not seeing anything pop up immediately. Doing searches here. So I don't know. I might just be blind and not seeing it. Derivative, this is a proposal, blah blah blah. Comment letter soon. The investors thing. Terminals, principles. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything here. So, by all means, send it to me. I'll check it out. Scott Pollan, RC only CEO in USA that is not taking a salary. All his compensation for market cap growth or dividends. My kind of CEO, his incentive is in line with my incentive. Yes, sirree, Bob. Jamaican, come on. Happy birthday, Houston. Cat tail karaoke today? Not unless one of my roommates lets the cat in. He's been sunning himself out there. It's darn right tropical outside, and he's enjoying it. Georgia Hurd, Jason Blackwell deserves a book deal. I know I'd buy a copy. He would write the book that the chick in Last of Us is constantly reading. Citizen 54 got banned on Superstonk for 7 days for reporting a sus post. Reddit admins, not the mods, banned me. First ban ever. Really? Weird. For reporting somebody else, you got banned. I got banned once because my stalker was spamming the Superstonk and the GME boards, and I made a post like, "Hey, this is my stalker. He's a piece of crap, and his wife works for the hedge funds." And they banned me, and it took I think at the time it was oh crap, who was then oh crap, I can't remember which mod it was that totally was like, oh yeah, no, the stalker's weird, and like banned the stalker and let me back in. But yeah, it was maybe Rensel, probably Rensel who did that. We Wild Houston, really looking forward to the day No Labs gets the FDA approval and goes out to market. It'd be a great day for my 2,000, soon to be 3,000 shares. Way to go, Wheat Wild. That is a good chunk of shares, and I think that'll be Greek Island money at some point. Tony Tran, get a portable AC, open the window wide enough to fix the exhaust hose and fill the rest of the gap with foam board fitted to it. The problem with filling the foam board is that I don't have a window anymore. That's just you can't turn around and look at all those trees. I mean, you guys can't see the trees because it's blindingly white coming in there. But again, if we block this out, there's the trees. You can see them out there. There's trees back there. It's beautiful and green and lush. I'd rather see that than a piece of foam board. So I guess what I'm saying is I'll be a sweaty mess when we get a heat dome over us, and but I'll still enjoy my trees. I'll just be like dripping at the same time. But right now, totally comfortable. It is absolutely comfortable today. So very comfortable, right, Monkey? You're comfy. You're in here. You're comfy. You got rubby. Oh, look at that rubby butt. Look at that rubby butt. Oh yeah. Oh. Why do dogs have such rubby butts? They're the rubbiest butts in the entire world. They're so rubby. RVing happens. Houston. Is MOASS even close? Seems like every time something else happens, the government is no help. I mean, as I've said before, it's like predicting an earthquake. You don't know when the earthquake's going to happen. All you know is that each day you're one day closer to when it will happen. So, my feeling is, and this was something that I talked about like 2 years ago, is I think the goal of these hedge funds, because they know how screwed they are, is to do the best they can to avoid everything popping at once. Is that they're going to try to slowly let off steam on ones here and there, in hopes that the whole thing doesn't explode all at once. But that only works if they've got some modicum of control. If that modicum of control disappears because, every single real estate investment trust in the U.S. implodes all at once, then, the banks implode and everything else goes haywire, then that will be out of the control. But until then, they're gonna try to, keep a lid on these things and maybe let off steam here and there. But they do not want to have another January 2021 where every shorted stock all started exploding at once, threatening to bring down the entire market. And I don't think the rest of the public realizes just how close we were to the insolvency of every market on the planet. We were so incredibly close. And only by illegally stopping the trading of these stocks to close position only did they save the global market from the damage that they were causing. So it's tenuous, and if they don't oversee something, don't see a crack in the foundation that lets in this flood water, their tight maintenance of all these shorted stocks may just get out of control. So that's where we are. Kelly Reed, happy birthday, Houston. What do you think? Oh, sorry. What do you say to people who are still in denial, thinking the market can recover and won't crash? I mean, Jim Cramer. You can fill up balloons and make them really, really big. You can keep pumping air into them and pump air and be like, see, the balloon hasn't failed, but it does. Markets collapse at some point. And when they do, everyone goes, oh, I see that coming. Despite right now, lots of people pointing out all the chinks in the armor where this is going to fail. We have a dam, and the dam is covered in cracks, and more water is flooding behind the dam, and everyone's like, it's fine. It's fine. We'll just paint over the cracks, and it's totally fine. And more water is entering the dam, more water is entering behind the dam. Floodgates aren't getting opened. They're not releasing the pressure. They're just adding to it, pumping up the value of these things through stock buybacks, through the plunge protection team, through the reverse repo, through all sorts of different means. And all it's doing is just filling more and more water behind that dam until it breaks. And when it breaks, it's going to be worse now than if they let it break 2-3 years ago. We'd be over it by now if they let it break 2 years ago. Now we have to just more doom and dread to look forward to. Kelly Reed, PS on market crash, I want to not work anymore. That is the goal. Courtney, life, journey, and perception. Oh. Wolf Trader, my gut says Wednesday will be explosive. Hopefully by Wednesday I can get my calls. I have to wait for the stupid cash settlement before I can move the money around. But man, all right. Pig Boss Wolf, do you think MMTLP is getting close to some sort of reconciliation? Nope. When we had the most attention, the members in Congress, they were so focused on making sure the government didn't default, I'd think that they were not actually paying attention to us. I do think Rose's latest filing, if the judge reads it, he can't argue with it. So if he reads her filing, he should definitely rule in her favor and force FINRA to provide the documentation she needs. If they rule against her, she takes that to the appellate judge and basically says, Your Honors, the first judge didn't read this and made a ruling. And that's will force those judges to go, oh, yeah, that seems to be case law, and then rule in her favor. So that can take a long time. Stephanie L., do you have an idea why car insurance has gone up exponentially? I would think it has to do with because the price of cars have gone up exponentially. 15 to 20% of all cars sold today have a monthly premium of $1,000 a month or more. That's a mortgage. People are buying pickup trucks that particular models sold for $12,000 15 years ago are selling for $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 now. Like cheapest base model cars you get are 30 grand. People are switching over to like 80-month car loans, 100-month car loans, because there's no way people can afford the $2,000 a month it would cost. Like the price you'd buy a Lotus for 15 years ago, you are now paying for a Ford Taurus. The money isn't there. And because everything's unibody construction, you wreck that thing, they have to total it. Oh, you dented the fender, but the fender is part of the body, or part of the support structure of the car, and we can't replace the support structure of the car, so we're just going to total it and sell it on Copart. These things, I think, are the reason why car insurance is getting expensive. Also, pedestrian deaths are going up because people are driving such huge trucks they can't see people and they're just running them over. And everyone's on their phones, they're not paying attention to where they're going, and it's just a confluence of terrible design and human attention. VRM's AMC, woohoo! I'm only late a quarter of the stream in this time. Oh, that disappeared. Where are we going? Right there. There we go. George 777 AMC will move up tomorrow. A few small hedge funds will try to close before Judgment Day. Ape still an arbitrage play, but most likely everything will be over before this weekend. Very likely. I think with time the arbitrage play is going to slowly disappear. So if you aren't majority Ape right now, I don't think you're gonna get as much arbitrage as you would have if you bought it like 60 cents or something. Citizen 54 bases in Crimea have been hit by Ukraine. Russia is imploding. Republicans are upset about all of this. I honestly think Ukraine does have a chance to push Russia back significantly this summer. I think that the morale of the Russian troops is just, it never was good in the first place, and now it's just like, what are we even doing, man? Bergotsin just told us that we were led by a lie into this fight, and then he just bailed on us. What the hell? And he was killing us, and Putin just gave him amnesty. Like, what is this? Party likes 1917. That's what I'm talking about. Finhatch, can I ask your BBY position options at least? I have 8,700 and change shares, but I'm trying to get as many options as I can if Trade Up allows me to do it. Tiger Trade. Just gotta wait for money to clear into the account so that I can do that. Meow meow. My prediction for MOASS. One Friday afternoon, you'll be eating popcorn, drinking A&W, and watching green slime, and your phone will blow up with texts telling you GME just hit $5,000. That would be wonderful. I'd be like, oh, pause. Party like it's 1996 when .com bubble started exploding. Citizen 4, Biden kills over Harris v. Newsom. Biden keels over Harris v. Newsom. Who wins? I don't like Harris. Newsom isn't better, but Harris really has no draw of personality. My guess is probably Newsom, since people really like play into like smarmy pretty boy-ishness. But Newsom also, I don't know, he's a little too plasticky for me. Harris, I'm apathetic about. I would have personally taken her over Biden in 2020 because someone younger who understands how things work. But there were other candidates I would rather have seen in 2020. I would hope that Sherrod in Ohio runs, if anything. Like, Sherrod Brown, he should go. He's further left, more pragmatic, less likely to acquiesce to crazy demands, is for universal health care. That's who I would hope. I would not put him in the corporate dem category. Ryan Hurt, Houston, have you ever thought about running for some sort of office position? If not, why? I ran for city council when I was 20, but largely ran for because a man was running unopposed who was a terrible human being who hurt lots of people I love. So I was running against him. But then another man entered the race who was older, more established, a former Navy captain, had way more gravitas than I did at 20. Plus, shortly after I entered the race, I was given an offer to go play baseball in Europe. So I withdrew, endorsed the Navy captain who eventually won. And then in 2011, a state legislature seat opened up because the state senator retired, a legislature moved into his seat, and there's an appointment position. So you go in front of the local Democratic precinct committee officers, have yourself a debate, talk about yourself, and then they vote on a ballot for the replacement. And I did not win. The man who I have no problem with the man who won. His name is Drew Hansen, and he is quite possibly the most effective state legislator currently holding office. He's passed. If you see legislative news out of Washington, he's likely the one behind it. He was behind net neutrality in Washington. He was behind making public colleges tuition free in Washington for those below $50,000 a year in income. He's done a lot of good stuff. So I have no problem losing to that guy. He's now looks like he's going to be taking the state senator position, and his House seat is going to be up. So maybe I'll throw it in the ring. I don't know. We'll see. I got a couple weeks to decide here. But we'll see. I'm mulling it over. Stonk Cobain. Under current SEC, Gary Gensler Citadel has been fined 0 times. Before Gensler Citadel had been fined for violations of 2017-2021. Do you think Kenny is too powerful to even be fined? That's a good question. And that power, I mean, they're under investigation. People try to get Freedom of Information Act requests regarding Citadel, and the response is, we can't give you the information because there's a current criminal investigation going on. So there are investigations going on, but are they investigations that are going to result in anything? I don't know. It seems like Gary Gensler is really big on going after the small fish who do things that the big fish do. Like Sabby. Sabby is naked short selling to manipulate the stock prices of several stocks that we were involved in, such as Acme parent company and Acme itself. And they get a $2 million fine. Like, don't do that again. Well, guess what? The market makers like Citadel and their hedge fund subsidiary were doing those same things. So why aren't they facing fines and criminal prosecution? Right? Seems kind of like a double standard. Like, they'll go after the pump and dumpers who pump and dump some penny stock and made $100,000. And they won't go after the ones who do it, with Dogecoin or Tesla, right? Who made tens of millions of dollars. I think there becomes a point where your crimes are so big that they can't see them anymore. It's like, having a wall in your way, and you're like, oh, this thing's huge. I guess there's nothing really here except a blank wall. It turns out that wall is just a giant crime, and you can't crane your neck up high enough to see it or something. But you can see those little crimes. Those ones like, oh, there's a little crime. There's a little crime. Here's a little crime. There's a little crime. You can see those ones just fine. Plus, their lawyers aren't going to be super powerful and bog you down forever. Peachy Sunday, how you stonk? Newsom should start jabbing DeSantis and get him in the news to run for 2024. I'd vote for him. He'll steal our money with his gorgeous smile, but still better than JB, RFK, or DeSantis. Yeah, DeSantis is dropping like a rock right now. His popularity in Florida is just evaporating. It looks like Florida's going to have just one god-awful hurricane season. We are in the baby state of hurricane season, and we already have several named storms popping up. So we already got through C named storms. We got another disturbance happening in the Atlantic. Cyclone formation, 30% chance in 30 days. So that's something. But the Atlantic is so warm right now that once conditions get right, we only have one little storm formation. But we had 3 of them out here just the other day. They finally dissolved into just storms. But they reached tropical storm status. So, Florida homeowners, a lot of them can't afford their home insurance right now, and they're about to lose big. And if they do have homeowners insurance, the insurance refuses to pay out, they have no recourse to properly sue them to get the work done. So Florida is just going to be like ghost towns as people try to figure out where to live because they don't have any money and they don't have a home, and all their wealth is, put into their home. Squamps, what pretty little chunk everybody loves monkey. They do. They love the monkey butt, right? Here it goes. They do? I'm going to continue sleeping. A few rooms AMC, a disco ball, and some turntables in the loft. Of course, why not? Julianne, Kick-Ass Warwick. Oh, Kick-Ass Warwick is a guarantee. Lone Wolf can buy BBBYQ options on E-Trade. Really? E-Trade will let you? What? How come no one told me that? Why does E-Trade let people do it but not Fidelity? Okay. Noted. If you're AMC, I would build a wraparound deck, a greenhouse, and a predator fence around the property. You can get yourself a monkey butt. Then you just let the predators in. Monkey butt goes, oh, unless it's an orange cat, then she's terrified. So funny. Last night, my roommate's cat, who's orange and does not like monkey butt, she hisses at monkey butt whenever they see each other. And monkey's like, The cat was just sitting on the stairs, and monkey would not come up the stairs. She was stuck there for 20 minutes until I moved the cat. Just like, I guess I'll just lay here. And this is where I live now. Just getting the evil eye from the cat the entire time. Theorems AMC, if they drop AMC to 2, I'm loading up. Won't load up on Ape, though. Not at 2, no. Because they'll probably be equal then. Squamps, man, I'd love to fix the world. I'd give up all my favorite snacks. Sis54, if you don't control education, you can't control the future. Stalin knew that. Mao knew that. Hitler knew that. We have to get back to conservative values. See on Fox News, Road to Majority 2023. What the fuck? I mean, if you destroy education, you will get people who are scared of lots of things because they don't have knowledge about them. So, yeah, you can do lots of control. I remember one time, this is years and years and years ago, I had some Mormons come to the door. Ding dong, open up. There's a couple of sisters of the Mormon Church. I'm like, hey, we're the Mormon Church. We just wondering if there's anything we could do for you or talk to you about, our religion. And I was feeling bored. I was like, come on in, let's do this. And they're like, oh, okay. And they came in, and I've got a whole bunch of religious texts. Quran, Bhagavad Gita, Book of Mormon, Satanic Bible, the Apocrypha, all sorts of things. And I was like, oh, cool, let's talk about this. Like, hey, you read any of these? They're like, no, we're not allowed to. I'm like, okay. So why aren't you allowed to? I'm like, well, because those are blasphemous and we aren't allowed to read those things. Interesting. So what you're saying is that your leadership is so scared of you learning about other things that will draw you away from what you currently know as the truth. I'm like, oh, that's not exactly what that means. I'm like, well, I can read these things. Doesn't mean I believe in any of them. I just read them because it's informative and tells me about how other religions work, how other people see the world, etc. So you aren't allowed to learn how other people see the world, because that might wake you up to how you've been forced to see the world. And it didn't last long. They're like, well, we got to go, and left. But I have the feeling that a lot of education, in places like Florida especially, what they're doing is they're minimizing the exposure of how other people live their lives around the world and forcing a narrow-minded experience, onto these students so that they don't possess the power of knowing how other people operate. And so when they're presented as an adult at how other people operate, they have instilled fear inside of them because it's what they don't understand. And that makes them hate. That makes them very easily manipulate. And Florida, prior to DeSantis, Florida had a pretty damn good public education system. and a really good state college system. And in a year and a half, he's destroyed both. To the point where, like, students in the future graduating from Florida schools might not get accepted into other colleges around the country. It would not surprise me if at some point the NCAA says, we just can't schedule Florida schools for competition anymore because your colleges are no longer accredited because you keep firing tenured staff for teaching true things. And having colleges run by people who are not scholars or educators and don't have the academic qualifications to do so. You're putting cronies in charge of these state colleges. I would not doubt if in the future Florida runs into lots of problems. Can you imagine the uprising that would happen if Florida state universities no longer would be allowed to play football? Or they could play football, just wouldn't be scheduled against any opponents. They have to like play each other. Imagine if like Florida State or South Florida can't play an NCAA game. That'd be crazy. Absolutely crazy. Squamps. I was sent to private school. My mom worked 2 jobs and my dad worked 3. He told me recently he didn't sleep for 6 years. Oof. Man. Monkey butt, I'm not sending you to private school. Too expensive. Pat Bones, Lone Wolf, I don't see any available options for BBYQ and E-Trade. Where do you see them? Uh-oh. Eagle Moan, Houston. So what he's saying is we can all be your new neighbors. Sure. Amber Fire Right. Fix the world. Start with good, truthful food and education of children. Children are your future adults. Yes. Grape nuts. What price do you think BBYQ could squeeze to? I mean, anything beyond a $10, $15 pop is icing on the cake. I'll gladly take it. I have no idea how quickly they'd be able to tamp down any squeeze on it. I mean, it is OTC, so there is no circuit breaker if it does pop. It'll just go and go crazy. So, outside chance, it'd go absolutely nuts in that situation. But the side of me that likes to temper down expectations is going, just calm down. So, thus, trying to get as many call options as I can. So if it does explode, I have the equivalent of like 300,000 shares exploding rather than just 8,000 shares exploding, right? And even doesn't explode that much. It goes little pop. Then, that's resurfacing the driveway or releveling the driveway and putting in a new forced air system money and having a cool war rig and off-road camper. Bum, 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 bum. Squamps have 6 VIX calls for September. Lord, pray for me. I mean, this is one of the situations where we're looking at a fall implosion because construction slows down. What happens? Those REITs, those real estate investment funds, they're the ones to watch out for, I think. Gers Savak Gill, when do you think MMTLP will get resolved? If Congress doesn't do something, it's going to take months for the court to do something. Current rate, Rosa submitted her amended complaint on Thursday, which gives a month for FINRA to submit their response to her amended complaint. And then the judge has 90-ish days, somewhere around there. So that's looking at 4 or 5 months just from Rosa's side to get anything out of the court. So if we're just counting on her to achieve something there, then we're looking at close to Christmas. It'd be into this a year before she hears anything. What can happen faster is Congress, the SEC, or the FBI doing something lickety-split. Floof butts. Hey, yo, Monkey Butt sold me an eighth of oregano once. Should have known better. Lone Wolf, I checked on desktop and it looks like you can buy some, but it's blank on my mobile app. Jan 25 leaps are only 9 cents, but it says not accepting orders this time. Yeah, on Fidelity it shows like you can go through all the rigmarole to order, and then once you go click to finalize, it's like, yeah, you can't do that. Call this number. And you call that number and you argue with somebody at Fidelity and they go, I'm not going to do anything for you. So, what to do then? That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that this trade up thing works. If that month get that cash settled. Steve, who do you think will get assassinated first, Putin or the Wagner Group leader? Ooh, man, that feels like a coin flip to me. Like, you ask me 3 months ago, I would say Wagner, the Prigozhin would get assassinated first. I mean, they attempted on, what, Thursday or Friday? They tried dropping some mortar shells on him, which is not the cleanest way to try and assassinate somebody, especially considering that the Russians have just terrible aim with their munitions. I mean, they're using stuff that was designed like in World War II, and they just don't do a good job when it comes to people in trenches. So their accuracy is way down. It's like, you know, Putin's much more direct. Like, you push him out a window, you have them drink some polonium, they commit suicide, shooting themselves 14 times in the back of their car, stuff like that. Like, that's more the Putin way of trying to assassinate. It's Shoigu obviously wasn't successful because his way of assassination was, let's just lob some random explosives that direction and hope it gets them. But I think Shoigu and what's his butt, who's like the director of the war, you'll never see them again. Putin is now probably super duper paranoid with his FSB, and you might see a cleaning of the house at the FSB and the GRU and RIS and other intelligence services, because it appears that he had a lot of help. The Prigozhin had a lot of help. And a lot of people were like, yeah, totally, man. Take our city, whatever. Keep going. Go to Moscow. See you there. So his paranoia will probably set in. And my guess is you probably won't see much of him until he's cold and thin the herd at the intelligence agencies. Whenever Mayo, CIBC Investors Edge, let me link my bank account with them and I can get money instantly on my trading account. All right. I don't have to wait for settlement. So that's the thing, like some apps, if they get crypto trading, you can sell your stocks, buy the crypto, send the crypto to your account and get your cash instantly that way, rather than waiting for 2 days. So you can do that also. Fidelity won't let you do that though. They won't. You can sell your stocks, and they won't let you buy crypto until your stock has settled 2 days later. So they discovered that people were using that as a way to getting their money out quickly before settlement had finished. But yeah. Strife, bro. Do you think FINRA wants MMTLP holders to transfer to AST? By doing this, it allows FINRA to pass blame to the brokers, considering they are the ones now liable to find shares. I don't think FINRA honestly cares either way, because what they're going to do is nothing. They did their job. They stopped the trading, saved GTS and Canaccord Genuity, made up words, and now it's a private company, and they're just like, hey, FINRA does not regulate private companies, so not our problem. And that's where they're hoping it stays. What they're hoping we don't do is get access to the information of just how many short shares were out there and who was doing what and when, because that no longer protects GTS and Canaccord Genuity. Squamps, how'd you get Shilpa Batman? When was his gotcha day? We got him July, I can't remember the exact date, 2019 sometime. What was the day I got Shilpa Batman? It was more, my cat, B.A. Baracus, he was a Balinese, which is a long-haired Siamese cat. He was a grizzled old man. He was murdering things up to the end. In April 2019, he was just gone. Never came home again. And I had a feeling he was like right at the end anyway. I was like, I think he crawled under a deck somewhere and just, that was it. He was too wily to get got by a coyote. He'd been outdoor cat for 20 years. He was going to fall for that. And then he died, and then the house started getting invaded by mice. There were mice everywhere. All the little field mice that had been getting murdered by him are all of a sudden like, hey, cat's gone. Well, let's party. And so it got bad. And so finally I was like, I need to go get a cat. And so I went to Paws of Bainbridge, which is a local nonprofit that has stray animals and up for adoption. And went in. I was like, I need a cat. They'll be okay with dogs and will murder things. And the lady was like, how about this cat? And she pointed to this giant fat piece of shit. I mean, Chupa Batman's a fat boy. This cat was like 40 pounds of blob. There's like 2 paws sticking out of his fat, and that was it. And I was like, no, he's not going to kill anything. She's like, I know. We can't seem to get anyone to adopt him. And then she's like, okay. So we looked at his book, and we went to what's called the kitten room. And really, it's just one glass aquarium full of like 30 cats. And she's like, okay, this guy here says he's okay with dogs. And that was Super Batman. His name was Furry at the time. Stupid name. And I wanted to go pet him, and he rolled over. He's like, touch my nipples. And I was like, I'm gonna touch your nipples. And he's like, ah. I'm like, perfect. That's exactly what I want. A cat is ready to go. And so it took about 10 seconds. I paid the lady $120, shoved him into a cat box, and introduced him to Monkey Butt. Monkey Butt's like, oh, I'm gonna fuck up this cat. And opened the door to the cat box and to the carrier, and this cat just like walked past Monkey Butt. She was like, did not care at all that I was amped to eat it, and so I guess I'll just have to accept it as my friend. And that is the story of Shilpa Batman. Paul M., you're the geologist version of Ben from Parks and Rec. It's a pretty close description. Jigish Shukla, what do you think about Bernie? I don't think Bernie's going to run. I think he's way too old now to go in 2024. He may try, but he's going to be like 130 years old by then. I would rather have somebody who's much younger and much more in tune with modern society run, and who has not been ingrained into the corporate dem world for the last 30, 40 years. Maybe we need Senator Mark Kelly. Might be good. Would probably have no problem winning a presidential election with the overview effect. Would be a positive. I have no problem with that. Yeah, works for me. Chris Taylor Houston for Prez. Maybe I'll run for Prez. I don't want to run for Prez. I'm old enough to run for Prez. It'd be 35 or older. I'm a natural born citizen, so I got the 2 qualifications down. I would love to be in a debate, though. Oh my gosh, I would love to be in a debate with like a whole bunch of people on a stage and just blow them out of the water. Squamps, dude, not being able to crick your neck up enough to see it is so good. Julio, leave my governor alone. Leave my governor alone. Says 54, Elon Musk backed out of the fight because his mommy wouldn't let him. I know. That was funny. He was like, yeah, I'll totally do a cage fight. And his mom's like, Elon, no. And he's like, my mom said I can't. Meanwhile, Mark Zuckerberg's like walking around. Yeah. Who's the guy? I'm the guy. 'Cause 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 And Citizen 54, you better buy that, man. The World Post MOASS. Pville Star. Pville All-Star. Oh, Pville All-Star. There we go. Ugh, sound that one out. It's written like how my mother used to text me when I first got her a phone. My mother had no phone. She refused to get a cell phone. She refused to get a cell phone. And then maybe around 2014 or so, 2015, she was like, I want a phone. She's like, I don't want a smartphone. I don't want any of those things. I just want a phone where I can just dial a number and call someone and be done with it. So we got her one of those old people phones. It was like one of those Nokia bricks, but had like just giant numbers on it. And the screen would just list contacts and who was calling you. And that was it. There's nothing else to get out of that thing. And we taught her how to do the 9-key text messaging. So she can 111 44 6666 whatever. And do text messaging that way. But she couldn't figure out how to do spacing. So I get these text messages that were like, and my family calls me Hooter, whatever. I get, hey, Hoot, do you want to come to dinner tonight? So-and-so's coming over dinner. I'd love to see you. Be like, but one long giant string. And I have to figure out where the spaces were in the words. And so it lasted for months. I kept showing her where the space bar was, how to do a space bar. And she just did not click. So it gets this just insanely long strings of German words, just compound words for days. Pville. There it is. Okay. Anyway, please explain what Acme Parent Company is. After all the streams I've watched, I've still lost every time you mention it. I'm sure other people will explain that, what it could possibly mean. It's a fictitious tech company that, can be involved in various material sciences and stuff. He's like 6'12", often found stirring mountain soup in the forest. He eats bees. FNGR Cobra Commander, usual suspects. Walt, the man in the middle. Houston, explain social democracy and how we need to be educated in political doctrine. Just because social doesn't make you communist. Social democrats or democratic socialists, however you want to call it. That's the government style that you find in a lot of Scandinavian countries and some countries in Western Europe. Basically, it is the idea that there's a place for a free market economy. You can have private companies, your Sony Ericssons, your Norwegian Cruise Lines, etc. Volvo, Saab, those type of things. But also there's certain aspects of the economy that should not be run for profit due to their importance to society as a whole. So water companies, sewage, infrastructure like roads, schools, those things, you just go, you know what? Everybody needs water. Everybody needs electricity. We're just going to provide those services at cost for everyone involved because it helps the larger economy as a whole. And also recognizing that society exists to help people. So certain safeguards have to be put in place because not everybody is having the best of times, right? People run into trouble, they run into health issues, they lose their jobs, they have an accident, etc. And so having a safety net involved, like universal health care, so that people, through their taxes, just pay for the healthcare service at cost and get treatment whenever they need it, however they need it, right? So if you're feeling ill, you just go to the doctor's office, get treated, go home, don't have to worry about having any out-of-pocket expenses. Not only that, but in many of these countries, if your illness is serious enough, they may be like, hey, you're not going to be able to work for a while. You've got cancer, you're going to go through treatments. So we're going to cover your rent and expenses for your recovery. And then when you get recovered, we're also going to make sure that you have another month to truly get your strength back. Countries like France, you go through cancer, they'll pay for all your expenses and your treatment and everything else. And when you finally go into remission, they're gonna be like, hey, go take a vacation on us. Go to Canary Islands, go somewhere. Just get strong, get healthy, get back to it. And you will. When you have a child, right? There's no bill for giving birth to a child, and then you get to stay in the hospital as long as until they ensure the child is nursing, that you're all healed up, and you're ready to go home. And also in France, twice a week, you'll have someone come from the government who will help you take care of whatever you need. Maybe they'll watch your child. maybe you can hang with the child and they'll fold some laundry for you, cook you a meal, whatever. Just because postpartum depression and being stuck with this child is really brutal. And you'll have things like compulsory childcare. The reason why a lot of babies are born in May in France is because at 3 months old, you can put your child into daycare if need be. And the enrollment for daycare is at the end of August every year. So as long as your child is born in May, June, July, August, they're 3 months old, they can qualify for childcare. So everyone shoots to try and have May babies, right? On that note, you may have some things like what Finland did. Finland cured homelessness. And how did they cure homelessness? They provided homes for people. Homes and substance abuse and mental health treatment. Done. Now they have no more homeless. Not that hard to figure out. So yeah, but there are aspects of the economy that are outside of the safety net, outside of basic utilities and necessities that are, full-blown capitalist institutions. So that is largely the effect of it, is realizing that people are greedy and they need incentive. But also, because people are greedy and need incentive, you also need some sort of base layer of protections for everyone else who might get taken advantage of by greedy assholes. There's no way to avoid people with cluster B personality disorders. They exist in all strata of society, but they do like to distill at the very top of politics, corporations, criminal organizations, etc. And so if you go full-blown communist, you're guaranteed to have a sociopath, psychopath, or narcissist running everything. If you go full-blown laissez-faire capitalist, you're guaranteed to have a psychopath, sociopath, or narcissist running things. It's unavoidable. So you have to have some sort of balance between those things in order to incentivize the greed that's inherent in people, because people want stuff, right? While protecting everyone from that greed at the same time. And that is the essential underpinnings of those social democratic institutions. Places like Norway, you have a gigantic sovereign wealth fund that has something to the tune of like $250,000 per citizen in the whole country. That pays for people's pensions, government pensions. It helps invest in schools, infrastructure, etc. You can even have those things in countries that are more autocratic. Saudi Arabia has gigantic one, etc. But it's like if the United States, which we own, like the citizenry of the United States owns most of the land of the United States. The Western United States is so full of BLM and national forest land. We own it. We own the minerals. We own the energy that's in there. But what we don't do is we don't have a national oil company who then exploits that and sells it and makes a bunch of money and then dumps that money into a sovereign wealth fund to make more money for the citizens later. What we do instead is we go, okay, we got this block of Utah. That's 30 acres here. Anyone want to take a bid on the oil rights for it? And then one company goes, I'll bid $6. The U.S. government goes, good enough for me. And then we sell off all of our assets and our resources that way. And then a lot of these oil companies never do anything with it. They just sit on it. Why? Because they make more money creating a demand through scarcity than they would if they actually just drilled and produced. So that to me is sort of the crux of the U.S. problem, is that we own a huge amount of these resources and we don't actually get to do it because in our minds, state-owned anything is evil. Well, we can't have state-owned anything. But, communities that have state-owned water utilities or publicly owned water utilities are cheaper and better than the ones that are run the private industry. A private military is evil, and a publicly funded owned military is a good thing. Just go look at what happened with the Wagner Group. Having private military contractors run your shit is a guarantee that you're going to get fucked up. It's the entire thesis of Star Wars. So, there's aspects for both in there. Okay, meaning great popsicle, guys. Says 54, why do you think Bezos Space Company will be the first to mine the moon, considering none of their vehicles have made it to orbit? What am I missing? They're going to be part of the landing team for the Artemis mission. So they're going to be on the moon. And by then, New Glenn should be ready to go. Or New Shepard. I forget which one's which. I think New Glenn? Crap. I'm always mixing up in my head which one's New Glenn, which one's New Shepard. New Shepard. Sorry, New Shepard. No, New Glenn. Duh. Yeah, single combustion heavy lift rocket. That should be probably flying this year. And then they'll be relanding and reusing it, and it'll be regularly used after that. But because apparently Jeff Bezos is so bad at securing federal contracts, he's gonna have to go it alone. Because much of he's like, hey, we will make the lander for free. We will pay for it, and the U.S. government's like, we're gonna go with SpaceX. You just had a company offer you $3 billion lander for free, and you're going with SpaceX? Like, whose dick did they suck to get that done? But Bezos his space company is a lean, mean fighting machine. It's pretty impressive what they've got just like lined up and ready to go. Dalton, AMC, Bat Bones. I'm not sure, but I think Dalton likes AMC. Derek Colhorse, I'm behind an hour. How about them student loans coming back? Gonna take out my remaining money. Yeah. Just a total swing and a miss by the Biden administration. Keep pausing that. Pause student loans indefinitely. Either forgive them or pause them forever. And then on the campaign trail, you'll be like, hey, everybody, you don't want to vote for that Republican guy because they're going to make you pay your student loans again. The Republican guy's going to have to come out and say, no, I won't. And then he's going to piss off all of the Republican donors and die. So you just gave your opponent a huge win on that one. Just dropping the ball, man. Dropping the ball. Get rid of student loans. Forgive them all. Make public institutions tuition free. Give people a stipend to go to school. We should not be a country that burdens 22-year-olds with hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt before they ever have a job. That just guarantees the crappiest, most miserable workforce in the entire world. And the kids who get college paid for them, they can go off and do unpaid internships that are like gravy trained into high-paying jobs later. Meanwhile, other students can't. Like, I had to take a bunch of loans. So now I've got to start working because I can pay back those loans. I'll take any job that comes my way. Okay, now I'm stuck doing a job that has nothing to do with my field of expertise, and I'm already behind everybody else, and I'll never get to work in that field ever again. Like, that's the stuff that happens. It's just like, not having universal healthcare in this country. There are people who stay in crappy jobs because it offers them healthcare when they could be doing something else that's much more meaningful to their life, better pay, etc. But because there's no healthcare involved, they can't. So you got people trapped as like Walmart greeters who could be doing other things and improving society, but because we don't have truly meritocracy system, we have one that basically dooms people to jobs they don't want, overqualified for, because they're the ones that provide healthcare. Just provide everybody healthcare. Give them all healthcare. And then let the cards fall where they may after that. I made it to the bottom? What? We got 15 minutes left. I made it to the bottom of the chat. Oh, baby. Got anything else for me to wrap up these 15 minutes here? Because, what else? Monkey? She's out. You can see her. Look at that. Look at that little head. Right there. That dog is out. Want to see something cool? She's like totally out, not paying attention to anything, but the minute she hears this sound, she's going to go nuts. Oh, yeah. There's the response we were looking for. Oh, boy. This bag's getting close to done here, Monkey. We got a couple more shows worth. And on the other bug that Mystery Michael sent us. Yeah, is this something you want? Want to come get it? Yeah? Oh, yeah, there it is. Come on. There you go. And the Jaws cam. Dun-dunt. Dun-dunt. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. There we go. Okay. Macron after party. Did you talk about BBBY yet? Several times, yes. Yes. Go to the rewind there. But my speculative theory is that they'll sell off Bye Bye Baby, and it will wipe out their debt, give them some cash on hand, and then we will keep our BBBY shares as our shares in a restructured BBBY that will have no debt and a pile of cash. Yudamon, Houston, stop jinxing yourself. Hoshi Gaming, Houston, hello from Oahu. I moved here and wanted to know guide recommendations for food places. Moved to Oahu? Whoa. I don't know food that well. Is Bud's Steakhouse still in existence? My friend's aunt owned that. And apparently she has a house here in Bainbridge too, but she may have retired. So I don't know if Bud's Steakhouse. I think it's in Kihei. That was delicious. There was a burger joint just east of downtown in Waikiki that actually had the only burger in Hawaii. I was like, that's actually a decent burger. Get sushi. Sushi everywhere in Hawaii is awesome. Always fresh catch. Just delicious. That is all my knowledge of restaurants on Oahu. Outside of that, I know there's restaurants on the Big Island, but that doesn't help you. But all right, so you moved to Oahu. Fantastic. I think Tyler English is there, and we got I Not Your Friend is also in Oahu. Who's another Oahu guy that's on there? Monkey. Names are totally escaping my brain right now. Yeah, come to me. Frank Obbang, you talk about German Central Bank's printing spree yet? I have not read a single thing about German Central Bank's printing spree yet. I'll have to read up on that, Frank. If you got a good article, by all means, send it my way. Do you like doing death metal growling? I think it's neat. It is the fantastic thing. Julius Miami talk baseball talk. Mariners are perpetually at 500. Chicago White Sox are perpetually 500. Texas Rangers, for some reason, are an outstanding baseball team out of nowhere. Shohei Ohtani is a freak of nature. There's your baseball talk for the day. Aaron Salentine, what, you were live while sleeping? Also, hi. Hey, do you see finger motion today? Heck yeah, squeeze alert. AMC all over again, or top stock that went up $260 a share. So everyone in chat, load up. $260 a share would be pretty fantastic. That would be, what? $26,000 per call option. I'd take that. That'd be all right in my book. Yeah. Aaron Sound to Houston, what is the deals of BBY update? I just said like 10 seconds ago. Again, I think BBY is going to sell off Baby, get their debt wiped out, get a pile of cash for it, and then they're going to be restructured, leave bankruptcy as a company with our shares intact. That's what I think is going to happen. If you're gaming, want to go visit the Big Island, I want foods. Go to my friend Dean's restaurant, White Guava. You would totally just drive past. Looks like an old Pizza Hut, which it is an old Pizza Hut. But man, Dean's got one hell of a menu. It is delicious. It is that and Hilo Bay Cafe, I think, are the two most delicious restaurants on the Big Island. They really know how to cook their food. It is just like they are chefs who love food, not just some hotel restaurant or chain. It's just delicious. And tell Dean that I sent you. If you go to White Guava. Ocean Sushi and Tsunami Grill are pretty good. Those are the good restaurants on the Hilo side. If Taco Taco still exists in Waimea, they actually have pretty decent tacos or burritos for Hawaii. Maui Taco's all right for burritos. They're kind of your Taco Del Mar type place. Other than that, you're not going to get very good Mexican food. yeah, it's hard to find really good independently owned restaurants. There's a lot of little drive-ins, tons of little drive-ins. If you're going to a drive-in, you're thinking, oh, I'm gonna get a burger and fries, they're gonna be pretty terrible. But if you're going to the drive-in thinking I'm gonna get a bento box, which seems weird, delicious. Get like Kalbe beef, get teriyaki chicken, katsu, stuff like that. It just looks like a 1950s diner, and you're going in, you're getting like, Japanese food. It's delicious. Korean barbecue, stuff like that. But the burgers, pretty terrible. Fries, meh. Milkshakes, meh. Bento boxes, delicious. Any Oahu guys want to hang? Yeah, seriously. Video guy, Kua Aina Sandwich, Burgers, and Haleiwa. Never been there. All right, that's a place to go. Ultimate in the middle. I am a democratic socialist, yes. $117, so $3 a share, BBY, and back to NASDAQ. So how does this cause a short squeeze? If the price pops more than $3, that's what will be the trigger for it. But for the most part, a lot of folks were still shorting the stock at 7 cents a share. So if you're shorting a stock at 7 cents a share and the price goes to like cajillions, then you're screwed. And by cajillions, I mean like $5 a share. Like let's bring up our friend calculator. We love our calculators around here. We gotta turn off the Chrome. There's a calculator. All right, got a calculator here. I need to go like, there we go. Okay. All right, so let's say you sell, I don't know, 10 million shares at 7 cents, right? So 10 million shares at 7 cents, you're making times 0.07. You're making $700,000. You're like, cool. I made $700,000 shorting this company. It's going to bankruptcy. They'll never exist again. There's $700,000 from my pocket. I'll never pay that back. Neener, suck my wiener, right? But the stock price goes to $5. All of a sudden, your $700,000 has to cover $50 million in stock. You're underwater $49.3 million. You may as well close up shop. You're done. There's no way. And a stock price of $5 for a company out of bankruptcy with cash on hand that's now going back to the NASDAQ is not a good place to be. Because there's only upward potential after that. They're going to expand again. Their sales are going to go up. They're in a very, very, very good place. So you don't want to be that guy. And that's just people at 7 cents. So just as many shares were sold at 8, at 9, at 10, at 25 cents, etc. And they're now going to be like tens of millions of dollars underwater in every single solitary one of those rounds of shorting they did. So it's seems to be a bad spot. And that's one of the reasons why you don't want to be a short on a company that avoided bankruptcy and came out with cash in the end. Uncle Mitty just came in. What are your thoughts for AMC post conversion split? Thoughts on the effect of QSIP number change? We toast. Here's what my gut is telling me, and this is stuff that I talked about with Biggums when he was on the show. There's a couple of things that can happen. Biggums' thesis is they do the reverse split and then they combine everything into AMC. And then they sell a bunch of stock and they pay off their debt. Cool. Company moves forward. It's fantastic. They got all the golden years ahead of them, right? My feeling is company does a reverse split, combines the stock, sells shares directly to a specific hedge fund or hedge funds, who then short the shit out of the company from $40 down to $0 again. The stock price drops so quickly that they aren't going to be able to pay off all the debt they need to pay off, and they remit a whole bunch of bonuses to members of the board. And because the short hedge funds now have a very large controlling interest in the company, they then take over the board even more and start destroying the company from the inside, which is a short hedge fund's dream. Those are basically the two sides of the coin. I think regardless, the share price will get hammered down because there's a lot more potential and a lot of money to be made, taking it down from $40 down to zero again. It could blow up in their face, or it could not. It could be doing what it does now, which is languish. So that to me is where it's at, and I just don't trust the board to not do something really sucky. So there, that's where I'm at with them. Once bitten, twice shy, 3 times bitten. I'm going to avoid you entirely. Right, monkey butt? You're just a pretty dog. Come here, you pretty dog. Come here, pretty dog. I want to just tell you what a good-looking dog you are. Come here. Come on up and say, yeah, come on up. Oh, there we go. Yeah, that's the monkey butt. What a good dog, huh? Yeah, you are. You are. You're so strong. You're so strong and beefy. You're a strong, beefy, good-looking dog. Yeah. Oh, such a powerhouse, this dog. She's like all muscle. I don't think there's any bones in it. I think it's just muscle on top of muscle, right? That's you. Yes. All right. Hoshi Gaming. I'm a head out. I'll check the whole episode later. Thanks, Houston. I'm gonna go get some Japanese food. Do it. And then go for like more traditional Hawaiian fare. Get some Kahlua pork and stuff. Just I never was one to I never found poi enjoyable. To me, it's like a famine food. Like I'll eat it if it's there, but I don't want it. Never grew on me. Figures AMC, how do we get rid of Adam Aaron on the board? The way the corporate laws are written, it's damn near impossible. You can nominate people for the board, but the nomination has to be seconded by a member of the board. So without that, you got nothing. You can force your way onto the board by buying like a majority in the company, I guess. But outside of that, I mean, there's people in this chat right now who own more shares of AMC than the entire board of directors at AMC. That is pathetic. You guys know who you are. Like, seriously, there are people in this chat right now who own more AMC than all the board members combined at AMC. Just, Julio, what time is Destroy Rabbi from UK? He's probably asleep right now, so I'll probably do some more destruction of that guy later. So, there's a rabbi in the UK who is like super duper transphobic and homophobic and everything, and I was criticizing him for it. He's under the impression that there's the Holocaust that happened to we Jews, and then there's other bad things that happened that were not the Holocaust. And my position is the Holocaust happened to all undesirables by the Nazis, and it happened to Jews, Roma, Slavs, gay people, trans people, lesbians, the disabled, political prisoners. Like, they were sought out, and they were sought to be all eradicated. And that the Holocaust claimed 13 to 15 million lives, and of that, 6 million at least were Jews, right? And this rabbi is like, no, only Jews were in the Holocaust. Everyone else is just sort of like, byproduct. Like, buddy, the final solution wasn't just Jews. It was everyone who was undesirable, according to the Nazis. And you just are transphobic, which he was. He doesn't think trans people exist, etc. And he did not like me pointing that out. And then he's like, you are anti-Semitic. I'm like, I'm Jewish, man. I'm just pointing out this is the reality of it. And then he'd be like, well, show me. And then I'd give him an academic article written by a historian at, say, the University of Washington, or who's in residency, a postdoc researcher at the Holocaust Museum, showing that there's specific German laws that targeted trans people and put them into camps and killed them, right? He'd be like, these are opinion articles. I'm like, they're not opinion articles. They're articles from experts in the field in academic sources listing out all of the evidence for these things. You're just a transphobe. And he's like, whoa, this is bullshit. So then I went and found a piece written by a rabbi who was looking at the Talmud. And there's the Torah, which is the Old Testament Bible, and then there's the Talmud, which is sort of the traditions, laws, history, etc. outside of that. And a lot of Judaism is run via the huge volumes of the Talmud. And so this rabbi was talking about how early Jews recognize there's intersex people, there's people that have spirits that aren't necessarily male or necessarily female. They might be born male, but they become female, etc. That there's trans people in the history of the Jewish people. And I posted this thing showing exactly the research and the history. And this rabbi was like, oh, it's not a real Jew. He's a Reformed Jew. He's not Orthodox like me. And I was like, oh, so you're also a piece of shit. Yeah. So I spent a great deal of yesterday on Twitter just calling this guy a transphobic piece of crap. And it was kind of fun, I'll be honest. And him telling me that I'm not a real Jew and that I had nothing to do with Harvard, even though I sent him my this is my student login. This is the classes. That could be photoshopped. You're not an actual astrophysicist. Pictures of my diplomas. You're not going to be made up anywhere. I'm like, buddy, just give it up. So anyway, spent a great deal of time arguing with that guy yesterday. It was great guy. I should have been pulling more blackberries, but I was like, you're a fucking asshole. Georgia heard, so the rabbi othered the others. Yeah. RVing happens. Do you think they'll ever vote in term limits of any kind? Term limits for politicians or term limits for AMC board members? I don't know. I would feel that if you become Brian Cohen's big on this, he's big on boards of directors and leaders of companies being personally invested in that company. He's putting his money where his mouth is. He's not taking a paycheck. I am taking my money and I'm investing in this company because I believe in its future. And he harps on that. And I think he's kind of elbowing digs at AMC because the board members have, $1 billion in stock options and bonuses and salary have been frittered away on these guys over the past 3 years. And they are not necessarily reinvesting in these companies. They'll take their stock options and then they sell them, right? Or they give them to their kids to sell, etc. But they're not personally invested in a way you would hope that somebody who leads your company is personally invested. So yeah, they term limits for them. I think would be pretty good at this point, just to get a new fresh blood. Term limit voting in the Supreme Court would be the move. I think make an odd year, like a 13-year term for Supreme Court justices. You get in there and then after 13 years, take your pension, go somewhere, and we'll put a new one in there. Why not? It's 4:30. I gotta go. Monkey butt, we gotta go, buddy. So everybody, have a great day. Tomorrow is Charity Tuesday, so we'll be doing a show about the same time tomorrow-ish. I do have a meeting at some point in the afternoon, so we'll see what works. If it works out weird, we may have to do a split Charity Tuesday. Continue to raise money for people. But I'm waffling between a few charities, but the charity tomorrow will be for a food charity that feeds children who during the summer. There's a lot of kids that are on free lunch programs, and the minute school ends, they don't have food security after that anymore. So we're going to do it. I'm going to try to pick which one is, I think, the best. I'm still waffling between 3 of them. But we're going to do one. It's going to be raising money for kids so they don't starve during the summer and be malnourished. So that'll be our Charity Tuesday tomorrow. I'll be excited to see you. Hopefully there'll be bigger, better news coming out of Bed Bath, Finger Emotion, GTI, GME. I don't know. We'll see what happens. So so we'll see you guys. See you guys later. All right. Have a good day.
Solid show.
Oh, thank you.